Hello, my name is Caren Stelson, and I'm so appreciative that Stars of the Night is on the Texas Bluebonnet master list. I truly am honored. Uh, and I'm really excited to share my experience writing Stars of the Night, the courageous children of the Czech Kindertransport, illustrated by the very talented Selina Alko. Well, in truth, I have been researching World War II longer than the war itself. My father fought in World War II. He was an American officer fighting in Germany in the infantry. And I began my history, my journey into World War II research through my dad. But I didn't end up writing about him. What I was really interested in is the children who are caught up in war. What happens to them? What happens to their lives? How do they get to peace? Or do they when they're an adult? I wanted to think about that question. I knew I was going to need to face the very difficult history of World War II and the Holocaust. My family was caught up in the Holocaust, so that part of history is very personal to me. But I know as a writer, particularly writing about children and war, we all need hope. So I was looking for a story that maybe was hopeful in this very dark history of the Holocaust. When I came across the history of the Kindertransport mission and the story of Nicholas Winton and the saving of 669 children, I got goosebumps. And when I get goosebumps, I know that story is calling me. So I knew the true story of Stars of the Night, those courageous children, their parents, and the heroic effort of Nicholas Winton was the story I was searching for. I did a tremendous amount of research writing this book about the Kindertransport mission and all those people who helped Jewish children out of Nazi Germany, Czechoslovakia, Austria, Poland, about 10,000 children making their way to England, really the only major country that was opening its doors to these children. So I knew I did a lot, as I said, I did a lot of research about that mission, the Kindertransport mission. I did a lot of research about Nicholas Winton, but Nicholas Winton is the mystery person in the story. We didn't know about Nicholas Winton until 50 years after World War II. So there's not a lot about Nicholas Winton in the story itself. So where do I put the research I did in this book? What could I do to add it to the story? And so what I did was I spent time writing in the back matter of the book, actually 4 big pages about the history of the Kindertransport, the events leading up to World War II that made it important to have this Kindertransport mission succeed. A few of the biographies of the people who were on the Kindertransport and grew into adulthood. Then I knew that if I can write the story and I can weave in the emotions of the story itself in the narrative, I could also expand the story and write the history in the back matter and expand not only the story, but my audience, because we all need to know the history, children and adults alike. But what I really wanted to do as part of the research was to find people who had actually had the Kindertransport experience. I wanted to hear their stories as part of my research. And that was the hard part, because these people are old now, people I could identify, were in nursing homes, were experiencing dementia, had died. And so I realized I was writing in between living history and history. And that was a very solemn experience for me. There are a lot of parts that are my favorite. One of my, of course, my favorite part, and the one that gives me great pleasure, is to be able to be published and to have my books available for so many people to read. I mean, that is just such an honor. But the other favorite part for me is to enter the story, to do the research, to find the heart of the story. That part is really, really important, and it really touches me. I know the narrative story, I know the published story touches my readers, you. But the story itself touches me first. And like many writers, I will say, read, read, read. Read like a reader, enjoy the story. Read like a writer, and think about how that writer shapes the story on the page. What can we learn from that writer? That is really good advice. Most writers will give it, but I want to add to that. I want to say this: when you get an idea and it gives you the goosebumps, you know that's the story that you need to write. That's your story. Don't let anybody tell you any differently. Believe in that idea. Write about that idea. Keep thinking about it. Keep thinking, touching that story. Revise that story. Try it out on someone else to see if it's working. And know that the stories we write are great teachers for us. They shape us into the people we want to become. I want to thank you so much for letting me share my experiences as an author. You asked so many good questions. And so I wish you well. Take care. Keep writing. Bye.